Welcome to Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc, the wildest mixed tag team in podcasting where the kayfabe drops and the chaos takes over. Let's ring the damn bell.
Headlocks tight, heels on the prowl, dropping elbows, hearing growl, feel the foul. No script here, just real, no bluff. Kayfabe crack, now the dirt gets rough. Headlocks, heels, havoc in the zone, stepping in the ring. Chaos at your home, no filters, no mask, just raw bands on. Wrestling unscripted, we on the throne. Title belts, mic checks, crowd going crazy. Drop truth bombs, leaving lines feeling hazy. Beyond the kayfabe, past the charade, where legends are born and stories get made. Headlocks popping, who's hitting the mat? Welcome to the Havoc where the real talk's at. Tune in, step through, leave the fake at the door. Headlocks, heels, havoc, now hear the roar.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am one half of the greatest mixed tag team in podcasting, the legend J-Mac. With me, as always, is everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Slam.
What's up, family?
And again, this week, we brought in one of our good friends from Mayhem Media, and of course, fellow horseman, the bad guy, JD. Mayhem Media.
Hey, yo.
There you go. Hey, yo. I like that. How's everybody's week been? And by the way, happy birthday, Uncle Slam.
Thank you. Yeah, getting old and fat. So, yeah, I can't complain. Another year around the sun. So, appreciate it.
That's it. You got to count them blessings, especially the older we get.
Exactly. You got to appreciate that shit because you never know.
I agree.
Yes, man. Yeah, nobody's promised tomorrow, so you got to get it in while you can. But yeah, man, it's been a pretty busy week in wrestling, man. I have got a whole lot of stories here, so we will jump into them real quick. I guess everybody has seen this, or I think everybody has. The bombshell text disclosure shows internal conflict between Triple H and Vince McMahon over the WWE creative. So apparently with this there is like a shareholders lawsuit with TKO and all that stuff and everything because of the fact that I guess Vince was not out of the company when the shareholders were told he was going to be out of the company, and he was still running creative at a certain point. And they were not happy about it, so they have, filed a lawsuit. Well, this is some of the text messages and stuff, and some of the stuff between Nick Khan and Triple H. It says Triple H and Vince McMahon clashed over WWE creative as per a latest report. Recently, it was reported that World Wrestling Entertainment was ordered by a judge in an ongoing lawsuit to produce SEC filings and host of other documents related to their merger with Endeavor UFC and the formation of the TKO Group. The Stanford-based promotion was sued by a class of its shareholders, alleging that Vince McMahon did not genuinely search for the best deal for the WWE and thereby did not increase shareholder value, but rather McMahon had a predetermined deal with Endeavor to merge in exchange for him keeping his position in the company in light of his sexual misconduct scandal that surfaced in 2022. Now, text related to this case show that internal power struggles between Triple H, Paul Levesque, and Mr. McMahon over creative control of the company. So in a report shared by Brandon Thurston of Post Wrestling, the disclosed text presented as evidence in the ongoing lawsuit show Paul Levesque had a conversation with Nick Khan a day prior to the landmark merger, stating that he was expecting the worst. He wrote, "How is it going so far? Man, I'm wound tight today. I can't read. D-Day tomorrow. Expect the worst." Nick Khan then responded with two messages, which were deleted shortly after. It is revealed in the filings that he does not remember the content of the deleted messages. How convenient. Levesque then responded with the text requesting time for a conversation with Khan. Later in the day, the game texted Khan again, stating that McMahon wanted to meet regarding talent cuts, which was also concluded with staff cuts, so on and so forth. I don't want to keep boring people reading all this. I'm trying to get to the actual text messages. Okay, on the day of their merger with Endeavor, Levesque sent a text thanking Khan, notably saying that if it wasn't for him, the game would have been out of the company. While it is not specified what Levesque meant by it, it could be safe to assume it would have to be in relation to his role in the company. He wrote, Nick just wanted to take a moment before all the craziness today to say thank you. Thank you for getting us here. If it wasn't for you, I would have been gone a long time ago. I appreciate you and all you have done and gone through, and I appreciate our friendship. It means the world to me. Thank you and congratulations. Last few was just told by security that VKM is coming to Cleveland TV Monday. What's that about? So this is talking about how Vince was showing up, as creative and stuff when apparently they had told the shareholders that he wasn't involved anymore. That says the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of disappointed in the Ari convo. Seems like we are in the same place. I'm going to tell him to stay out of it or else. This was way different than I am telling him. He's done. It's over. Kicking the can down the road. So basically, what do you all think? Like, I just going over this and looking it through all this, like, it sounds like Triple H may have been on the outs and getting fired. Well, like right here, it says between you and I, it feels like they are both backtracking on the he's out narrative. It's back to the, well, if he wants to go to the show now and then, and if he gives notes and want to have a 30-minute meeting now and then, okay. So there seems like TKO was still trying to keep Vince, around for his, I guess, knowledge. But does that mean that Vince was on or was going to get rid of Triple H? As the
I don't know.
What is it, CCO? Whatever he was.
Because some of this is kind of confusing, like I said. So I'm not grasping all of it, but from what you, like I said, it sounds like you said, Vince was hanging around when he wasn't supposed to be. Which, if that's the case, then that's kind of like their issue. Now, if you're talking about Triple H getting, like maybe hitting the streets or getting fired, and then something happened that saved him, like, I don't know. I guess them finally getting rid of Vince, which I wouldn't be surprised because, like I said, Vince always wanted final say. He was used to being the final boss, so it's not like it's he's going to give that shit up easily. That's kind of just who he's always been. That's so. I'm not surprised if he goes back to old habits and stuff. And it's like, no, hey, if you don't like what I'm saying, you can go. He had no problem getting ready to boot Shane out or Stephanie or whoever. So I don't see why he'd have any problem booting Triple H out too. Like, even if he is a son-in-law and shit. But
right. If you're going to get rid of your son-in-law ain't protected.
Yeah. And like, he was going to get rid of his dad too. So obviously, he's, I don't want to say he's a cold-hearted businessman, but he's definitely about his business. He has no problem separating family and business when it comes to it. So, that's just kind of how, like, he's always been. You know what I'm saying? The earliest thing he said is when he bought the WWE from his dad, either his dad was going to get in line or he was going to, get rid of him. So, not really too surprised about any of that. The whole, Vince still hanging around, that doesn't really shock me. Like I said, that's been his life for years, so I'm not surprised if he was hanging on like a little bit longer. And now, that's really up to them. That doesn't sound like internal shit. Like, they can get in trouble because if he was supposed to be gone or away from the company by a certain point, and they were still kind of keeping him around, picking his brain, that's really them and shit.
I agree. JD?
Yeah, remember last week when we were talking about how TKO Sports is in big trouble?
Oh, yeah.
I think this pretty much confirms. Yeah, I think this pretty much confirms that they're likely in big trouble because if they get sued now by their own shareholders, and if that comes through, now that pretty much guarantees you the UFC will be done and the WWE will be broken into pieces.
Oh, yeah. I definitely guarantee that.
Yeah,
they have no choice because the shareholders are not going to. Yeah, the shareholders are not going to stand for it anymore. I don't know. I found that pretty interesting.
Yeah, not with the stuff.
My thing about that with the stuff with Vince. They're not playing with Vince anymore. The shareholders wanted to get away from Vince. That was the key to it. And then, but the thing that really struck me about it was it almost to me sounded like, and again, I hate text messages because you can't tell what people are saying and stuff and everything. Mm-hmm. There's no personal, dialogue, and you just can't tell the context of which people are talking. But to me, if I had to look at those text messages, it almost sounded to me like Khan and Triple H were kind of like, we got to do what we got to do to get the old man out so that we can have the company, to do with as what we want to do with it.
I don't know if it was so we can do what we want as much as, we got to get Vince away from the company because we're all going to be sued. So that's what I think more it is. And Vince, I don't know why he sold the company anyway, because he was going to get forced out because of the thing, and he thought he could pull a backdoor thing, like Tom Brady tried to do with the Dolphins, but it ended up backfiring on him, and it doesn't it can't work that way. Once, not with a sexual misconduct, and the whole thing. If he'd have never took his company public, then it wouldn't matter what he did. It would have never came to light. No one would have ever found out about it. It's only because it's a publicly traded company. So that's what ultimately bit 100% bit him in the butt in the end. And now, I don't know if you guys heard this, but I read a report where he's going to wait until, because he can see the writing on the wall. TKO Sports is having big trouble right now, even if it's just directly related to him. So he's going to get Saudi money and try and buy Raw and SmackDown back. I think we talked about this last week a little bit. He's going to get Saudi money.
Yeah. We have. Actually, I think we talked about it a couple times or whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's likely where I think is what will happen. And I think it's looking more likely. And every time TKO releases a statement, it's looking more like they're going to end up selling it. And if Vince is in the right position, he can buy it back.
What do you think the percentage is if Vince buys it back that it stays a publicly traded company? I think it's zero.
Zero. He'll never have another publicly traded company again. Not with Saudi money.
Yeah, I don't think he'll make that mistake twice or whatever.
Yeah, no way.
He wants too much control, and he doesn't want to have to answer to shareholders anymore.
Yeah,
but we will.
Yeah, that's basically who this is. Have you not met him? I mean, he's always been this way.
Right.
The only reason he took it public in the first place was because back in the 80s, he made a joke about how he was going to make WWE a publicly traded company, and they laughed at him. You're never going to have a professional wrestling company as a publicly traded company. He did it because someone laughed at him when he was just taking over, and he did it to prove them wrong, and then it bit him in the butt. But now he's in a position where he could end up with it again. Vince McMahon's a savvy businessman. He knows how to get what he wants and avoid stuff all at the same time.
I don't know what ties he's got to whatever, but yeah, he's had a way of getting out of things that most people wouldn't get out of.
Well, money kind of does that shit, and I'm pretty sure he has some influence. He has friends and shit.
Oh yeah,
and he is good at wrestling. Now I don't know if he's good about all the other shit in his life, but when it comes to wrestling, he knows wrestling. He knows how to run an organization. Yeah. He knows what he's doing with that.
Yeah, you really can't deny that.
Yeah, I mean, he does. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of years with WWE.
I don't think we have
TKO
to wait that long.
And all that. I don't either, but I'm giving it that just to be on the nice side. All righty. WWE may have potentially revealed WrestleMania 42 results with its latest announcement. And that announcement has WWE potentially revealed the results of some of its top matches for WrestleMania 42 with its latest announcement. In May, World Wrestling Entertainment returns to Europe for Clash at Italy, scheduled for the last day of the month. The company's official website has released a poster for the event featuring Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Randy Orton, Oba Femi, Rhea Ripley, Seth Rollins, Liv Morgan, and Trick Williams and Gunther. So is this all the people that are going to win?
I don't know, but we should keep that list and check it off again
before.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, we don't need to do a prediction.
I mean, I've got it saved on my phone.
Those are my predictions.
Right. No need for a prediction show. I'm picking all these people.
Yep. Yeah. We'll just put up the list. We'll go live.
Going to Vegas with that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna put it up live before the 15 minutes before the event and be like, okay, these are our picks. Let's see if it happens.
Well, the funny thing about it is it's not the first time that it's happened either. You know, they've slipped up like that before. Who knows? We'll see.
For all their discussion, I mean, they are, you know, on top when it comes to production and all that stuff and posters and marketing. They have all of it in the bag, but sometimes they get so far ahead of themselves that's where these mistakes come in, that they release things before it's time because things actually haven't happened yet that are supposed to happen to set up the reason they would be on the poster in the first place.
Yep. 100%. All right, let's see here. WrestleMania 43. It says, so I get word from my source, and this is Jonathan Coachman. So I get word from my source that they're actively, if the war continues into a certain date, and I don't have that date, but there is a cut and dry date that if the war continues in the Middle East through that date, they will move WrestleMania out of Saudi Arabia. The second part of this is that LA New Orleans are the two leading candidates to get WrestleMania next year. If they decide to take it out of Saudi Arabia for the safety concerns, for the talent, for the fans that are all going to travel there, the whole 9 yards. But I got this confirmed today. If the war continues past a certain date, they will bring it back to the stateside, LA or New Orleans. I mean, I kind of think we already knew that, but let me ask you this, because they said New Orleans and LA. Mm-hmm. Do you think with the 2-night WrestleMania, there's ever the chance that we get the multiple city WrestleMania again, like WrestleMania 2? Not saying that it was a good idea. I'm just asking, do you think that's a possibility with the way that things are now with streaming and stuff?
I think that they're arrogant enough to actually try that. I do think that they could try that again. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. I'm not saying it'd be a good idea, but yeah, like I can see them. I mean, maximize, like I said, you know, take a product, divide it, have a bunch of people here, a bunch of people here. You know, they're always talking about gates and attendance and how many people they pulled in. If you basically had 2 WrestleManias at 2 separate places, I mean, you might pull in more people. Shit, I don't know.
You might. It might be a better marketing play if nothing else for the seating.
Right. And that's what I was thinking is like, you know, maybe WrestleMania 2 was 40 years too early. You know what I'm saying? The idea was there that, you know, for a 2-night event, 2 different cities, still call it WrestleMania. East Coast gets one night, West Coast gets the other night, whatever, you know. I don't know. It just, I feel like they're opening up the gates for that again, too.
I was going to say, don't give them no more ideas. Don't give them no more ideas, man.
Yeah, they're doing too much as it is.
Yeah, I don't even know if there should be a 2 nights of WrestleMania, to be honest.
I agree with
not if we're going to have 5 and 6 matches.
No, yeah, I agree with Uncle Slam.
Like, it's just
I would rather watch a 4-hour, 12-match pay-per-view than I would a 2-night 5-match on each card.
Exactly.
I'd rather just do it all in one night and be done with it. Because even if I fall asleep halfway through, I can just go back and watch the second half, you know, the next day or something.
Yeah.
All righty. The real reason behind Cody Rhodes' shocking promo on WWE SmackDown revealed. Like, apparently there is some serious, I guess, strife between TKO and the wrestlers, because they are kind of tired that this has been 2 years in a row. TKO has stuck their nose in the last month of, you know, the road to WrestleMania and inserted somebody that nobody wants in there. Nobody wanted Pat McAfee and nobody wanted Travis Scott. But we're getting them shoved down our throats because that's what the report is, that's what TKO wants, and they want celebrities.
Yeah, they want the social media people. They want the younger people and shit. They want the the hipper crowd and shit. Like I'm not against Pat McAfee, but the whole him Randy Orton shit just sounds stupid to me. I'm just waiting for him to get RKO'd and put to sleep and shit. Honestly, I get why they're doing it. I don't like all of it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't mind celebrities, but Jelly Roll. Then we got I Run Speed. Then we got Logan Paul's fine. He's a wrestler and shit, but it's like when it's too much and shit. And so who else are they going to bring along? I mean, they got fucking little Yachty's coming and shit. So it's with the whole Trick Williams and Sami Zayn and shit. Is it too much? Almost feels like
the Beach Boys said it back in the day: 2 girls for every boy. It feels like 2 celebrities for every wrestler now. It's like we're gonna put celebrities around you so that way we can make it more pop culture.
Yeah.
That's what I almost feel like it is. Yeah.
It's stupid because what they don't realize is look at what wrestling did for so many years, from Hulk Hogan and the rise of Hulkamania all the way through the Attitude Era, all the way through, to the Ruthless Aggression, even the PG era. Wrestling itself was a part of pop culture just because it was wrestling, not because there were celebrities surrounding it all the time. WrestleMania, you'd see Chuck Norris and Arnold and all the big celebrities maybe show up and everything, but that was really it. You didn't really see, nobody got involved with matches that much.
Well,
Chuck
I don't know,
Norris,
Mr. T, the whole Mr. T thing and all that. I mean, that was one of the first things and he was celebrity. Right. So, I mean, I'm not saying they don't go with WrestleMania, but there's a limit to how many you can shove down our face and it be okay. To me, that's just, what I'm saying, just a balance. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind celebrities being at WrestleMania because it is, the biggest pay-per-view of the year. But I don't want it to be more celebrities than wrestling and shit. I don't give a fuck about Travis Scott. I don't care about Little Yachty and shit. I don't care about Jelly Roll. I really don't care about Ice Speed and shit. Maybe if they can make me care about them or something, write them in with the
storyline.
Yeah, in the storyline where I might give a shit, but I really just don't.
And don't do like Pat McAfee and go ahead, JT.
I was gonna say WCW did really good when they brought Rodman and Karl Malone in. They built a story around him. Rodman was in the NWO. Karl Malone teamed with DDP. They were already having a feud. DDP was already feuding with the NWO. It played into a story they were already telling. That's why it worked. Plus, they both got wrestling training and could do something in the ring, even if it's just basic. And I don't care who you
and
are.
not only that too, but
go ahead, J-Man.
I was going to say the off court stuff between Malone and Rodman at the time with the Bulls and the Jazz playing in the finals and stuff. Yeah,
they played right into that.
It made sense.
And DDP had him in the Karl Malone in the ring, man. I mean, Karl Malone did a heck of a body slam, and he was not delivered some good clotheslines. I mean, it wasn't great. Just like Rodman did an arm drag, a couple of arm drags and locked up. And it's enough that it got people crazy. Like, what? Dennis Rodman's locking up with Diamond Dallas Page. What? Hulk Hogan's locking up with Karl Malone. What? So, they got taught enough to do something in the ring and be safe. And they did it with the storyline with the basketball and in the wrestling. So, to Uncle Slam's point, there is a way to incorporate celebrities, but if all you're going to do is just bring in celebrity appearances, that's not really incorporating celebrities. That's just bringing celebrities.
And I don't want every feud.
Yeah.
And I don't want every feud incorporating celebrities. But, and going back to the Rodman stuff and everything, I had to root for Rodman in that situation because I can't stand Karl Malone as a person.
Me neither. Plus, I was a Bulls fan, but at the time when I was a kid, I really hated the NWO, and I was not a Hulk Hogan fan. So that match really had me really messed up.
I'm just not a fan of people who diddle kids. And Karl Malone is famous for the.
Oh yeah, the 13-year-old.
Karl Malone, while he was in college, he got a 13-year-old girl pregnant. Yes, the boy played in. What was his name? He played for the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, I know you're talking about, but I can't think of his name.
He grew up to, The young man grew up to play for the Tennessee Titans. But yeah, I have no respect for Karl Malone.
I guess
I think he needs to be canceled myself.
I don't have a I mean, no, I'm not for that either. So but I had no idea. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
I didn't either until a few years ago.
Yeah, well,
I can't remember. It may have been you, Uncle Slam, that showed me the story or something. I can't remember who it was, but
yeah, because I saw the shit and I was like, "Nah, man, this is some bullshit." And then when I did research, yeah, it's 100% true.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yep.
And he has nothing to do with
Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, that's no good.
And he walks around like he's just unscathed. But yeah, that's another show for another time. Shame on you, Carl. All right, the Pat McAfee effect. As we've been talking about, major cause for worry for WWE. I think we've covered this. It's time to slow down on the celebrities, so we won't go too much into that. We kind of already hit on that.
Stop with the hidden people. And why would you do it? Like Danhausen failed. Yes, Danhausen's popular now, but what the reveal of him was a failure. It absolutely was.
Well, everybody was expecting something else. Everybody was expecting Jericho and.
We talked about this. Well, J-Mac on the Call for the Bell episode on the prediction show and stuff that we were talking about, and last week I think too on your show we talked about it. It's just half the people were always going to be thinking one person, half the people are thinking another person. So you're going to disappoint at least half your fan base.
There's a time and place in wrestling to do secret reveals. But everybody who shows up doesn't have to be secret revealed. You know what I'm saying? Countdown and stuff like that. It worked for Jericho. You know what I'm saying? It didn't work for Danhausen.
No.
Even though it wasn't the same kind of countdown, but it was a countdown. Yeah, it was do not open till.
Yeah.
Is it because it was more comedy with Danhausen than Jericho was more serious? Or do you think it even really matters? It's just the way they did it?
I think it had more to do with people expecting things, because when Jericho made his debut, everything was still rumor, news and rumor. Nothing could be confirmed because not everything was online yet. It was just starting for the wrestling industry.
Mm-hmm.
So even though people may have predicted or maybe some inside tracks, the majority of the fan base still really had no idea. So that's why I think Jericho's worked, because the fan base wasn't expecting Jericho. Nobody was. Nobody thought Jericho was going to jump ship. So that's why I think it worked. Nowadays, everybody is online. Everything is online and everything's immediate. So as soon as you see a box, that's containing somebody, don't open until this day. Before that episode's over, it's already going to be trending on Twitter. Who's in the box?
Well, because people are right. And not only that, people are looking and they're dissecting the scenery around the box. What's on the box, how is it written? It's what points to this, what doesn't point to this. Yes.
And that's I think you can't do reveal in today's day and age with wrestling right now. I think reveals are a big mistake. I think you got to go back to those surprise reveals where you don't mention nothing and then music hits or lights go out or whatever. Like there's other ways to do things besides like a big lead up. Not everything has to be to J-Mac's point. Not everything has to be a big lead up. Sometimes just shock and awe, surprise.
I think those have a better effect anyway. Whenever it's just like lights out, boom, music hits, boom. That's just me. Bigger pop.
They did it with Sting. Some of Sting's first appearances were lights out, the crow sound, then Sting in the ring. That's perfect. No reason for a big build up.
Right. All right. Let's see. This past week, see, talent's voice frustration over Pat McAfee's inclusion. We've hit all this. Sorry, guys. I had a whole bunch of these, and I'll just get through them. Well, this was Pat McAfee's response to it. These internet wrestling, I can't remember what he used there. Maybe it was clowns. Dipshits have no idea. Yeah. This is for the good of them. Yeah, we're dipshits now. This is for the good of them. They have no idea what they've been missing. They have no idea what it's supposed to look like. Now we changing. The IWC are not the biggest fans of what happened. They're pretty upset about it, but they are a part of the problem. They are the ones that said, yeah, this is what it's supposed to be, all this stuff. It's like, nah, let us show you what it's supposed to be. It's a very important pivotal moment in the history of the business. So this man is talking about his relationship with Randy Orton being an important historical pivotal moment in the business. Does anybody out there believe that Pat McAfee in any way, shape, or form is a historical pivotal moment for the wrestling business? Take it away, guys.
I didn't know. My answer is no. And I didn't know did he have history before this with Randy Orton?
Not that I know of.
Then this is a brand new storyline and there's no history about anything.
I think this is just a shitty promo that he cut and thought it sounded good and shit. Because I'm telling you, give it WrestleMania, maybe a little bit afterward. Randy's gonna RKO his ass, and it'll be done and over with and shit.
Because that's what the people.
It's the Viper. It's what he does.
Yeah.
So.
I don't buy it as anything more than just a bad promo.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. There's nothing about Pat McAfee. Yeah, it is. It's completely a horrible storyline. I don't care. I would have rather seen Ted DiBiase Jr. show up.
Yeah, me too.
Than Pat McAfee. You know, I honestly and truthfully, I think TKO said, no, we're not going to do that because he just got out of legal issues and everything. But that's the best time to do it. His name's hot again. You know what I mean?
But see, they're looking at it from a
come back and be a
full-time
wrestler.
Yep, exactly, Uncle Slam.
They're looking at it from corporate. They're looking for sponsors, all that bullshit. And unfortunately, like I said, once corporations take over and it's not family owned, they're more worried about their shareholders and profits, and stuff like that really affects that because, you know, people pay attention to that shit, especially with the news and all that shit. Right. So there's nothing you're going to be able to do about
with
that.
Him being acquitted.
That's the
I know what you're saying and stuff, but it's just like I said, corporate. It's just It's about money and numbers. They don't really care about feelings.
And corporations can't run wrestling. It's not, wrestling is not a corporate industry. It's not
exactly
that can be run by corporate. It's the wrestling industry in itself is supposed to be, while Vince McMahon did everything he could to put it in the mainstream, and it isn't in the mainstream, but it's still ultimately a taboo topic. It can't be run by corporation. It can't be run. That's why WCW fell apart.
Exactly. 100%. I totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah, that's why WCW fell apart, because it was a corporation, different people. Mm-hmm. Oh, things aren't happening. Oh, people are calling because they don't like the content. As soon as you have to listen to that, as soon as you have other people that you answer to, then you can't run the wrestling company the way it needs to be ran to draw the attention and to draw in the people, to get the ticket sales and to get the attention you want, because it's not corporate friendly. The way you get people involved in wrestling and really excited about wrestling is to push those limits, and corporations aren't going to push those limits. They want you to stay color inside the lines.
Yeah,
I think that, like, it's the same thing. You know, when Time Warner came across with WCW, it wasn't, or AOL, when the AOL Time Warner merger happened, that killed WCW. Because of the fact that as long as Ted Turner was in charge, Ted wanted wrestling.
Yep.
And as long as he was in charge, it didn't matter what anybody under him said. WCW was going to be on TV.
Yep.
But, you know, good, bad, or indifferent, it was going to be on TV, because there were some bad years there at the end. But the second that AOL Time Warner came in, it was like, we got to get rid of this. We got to completely get it off the books. Whether it's making money or not, we don't want it.
Yep.
And that's what they did. I don't know. I just hope the WWE don't, suffer the same mistake, but we will see.
It would be terrible.
We're finally off that subject, guys.
Yeah. That's the worst part about it, though, is that the WWE owns all of wrestling's history. So if something happens to them, the history gets broken up, and then you'll be paying, if you want to see anything from the AWA or the NWA, You'll only be seeing it on YouTube now.
I think anybody who is smart, if you buy, well, going back to Vince is not going to buy WWE, SmackDown, and Raw brands without that lineage and that, because I mean, you think about it, that's all he really wanted from WCW was the video library. That's the only thing that really had a whole lot of value to it. So because of that, he's not going to buy back and leave that out of the deal. If that don't come with it, Vince ain't buying.
Mm-hmm. True.
Maybe.
I agree with you on that.
Maybe. I'm going to say maybe on that, J-Mac. I'm going to say maybe on that.
I don't think he will, because he's not going to have him and his dad's company and not have that lineage to talk about.
I think the WWE lineage, in terms of the video library of Raw, SmackDown, and the history of the pay-per-views and stuff, I think he'll get all that with the Raw and SmackDown brands that he'll buy. But he's going to have to pay separately for AWA and NWA and WCW.
Oh, yeah.
Those are all assets that they're going to want money for. That's why I'm saying it's people think
that it's just
Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, but it's also the WCW history library, the NWA history library, TNA and AAA are now involved in this too. Like, it's not just the WWE now, it's the history. It's all the history that they've acquired over the last 50 years.
If it happens, it would not surprise me one bit if Billy Corgan did not make a play to try to get the library for the NWA back, so that he can have the actual history again for the NWA titles. All righty. Moving on, though. This person chatted, said, I love Roman, but y'all Roman fans are delusional as AF. I'm not going to go all that far. I don't need to cuss for that. It's one thing to say you simply enjoy him more than everyone else. But the fact that there's people saying he's objectively top 10 in the ring all time is just insane. That's not true even in just WWE. I 100% agree. Do you think he's top 10 even just in WWE all time?
No. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Yeah. Let me just, because I got one thing to say. I believe that Roman Reigns is in the top 10 of most overrated wrestlers of all time. Go ahead, Uncle Slam.
I was going to say that as far as Roman, I think it's one of those generational things. I think it's almost like the LeBron and Michael thing. Like, if you're born after 2000, you think LeBron's the greatest. If you were born before, then you think Mike is. I think for younger people, they look at him and maybe, John Cena as the GOATs or whatever. So I think it's just more like a generational thing. Now, I don't see him as a, top 10 or whatever, but I think because he had such a long reign, somebody would say that. But at the time, there also wasn't a whole bunch going on in wrestling, so they didn't really have much to kind of choose from. But no, hell no. Like, I wouldn't put him in my top 10 or whatever, but I see why the younger generation would. Not older people, but maybe somebody like, in the last 10, 15 years might think he's the shit, or, he's the GOAT or whatever, or he's top 10. But no, I don't think anybody old school is going to be like, yeah, Roman Reigns is a top 10 person.
Roman Reigns is not top 25 in the world of wrestling, and Roman Reigns is not top 25 in WWE lore of wrestling. Now, in saying that, I still have to give Roman Reigns a hell of a lot of credit, because as much as I could not stand him, he got himself over.
Paul Heyman got him over.
He got himself over. Paul Heyman got him over until he was able to take the mic himself. Now Roman is, I'm not going to say that he's a Stone Cold, Rock, or anything like that type promo, but I would put him in the same level as like a Shawn, a Brett. They can give you a solid promo. It's not going to be great. It's not going to be, something that you're necessarily going to remember, but it's going to sound pretty much the same every time, but it's as far as the tone and stuff. But like as far as like him being able to come up with stuff off the cusp, I think he's gotten a lot better at that. Like the stuff between him and CM Punk here lately has been pretty good. So, I mean, as in that, I'll give him that respect that he was able to get himself over to where he no longer needed Paul beside him.
I can kind of agree with
That's
you.
That's about as much as I'm going to give
on that. But I think he's just average at best. Like, I don't think he's terrible. I think he was terrible at first. I think Paul Heyman definitely helped him. I think he just cuts okay promos. It's nothing like you said. Like, I'm not going to remember it. It's not going to be a pipe bomb. It's not going to be, Austin 316. I just whooped your ass. But it's enough to get by. Like, he's average.
I think Roman
it's Reigns nothing that's going to break the bank.
Yeah, I think. I don't think he's. I think he's gotten better, certainly, but I think they should have pushed him as a heel. They spent too much time trying to make him the face of the company, and the fans were rejecting it.
They were too. They were booing the shit out of his ass.
Just like The Rock, Rocky Maivia. Rocky Maivia wasn't over; he was booed out of the building, and then The Rock took it, embraced it, and became a heel and became The Rock. And then after you embrace it, people will accept you and will eventually cheer for you. If you spend enough, it's honestly the opposite way. The phrase that we were talking about superheroes and stuff in one of the other episodes, you either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's almost the opposite in wrestling. If the fans aren't cheering you, do something to get them boo you. Because if they boo you for long enough, you can do something. You can come out and save the babyface, and then you'll be over because you have the popularity. So I think it's the opposite's true in the wrestling business.
I just, like I said, it's Roman. I don't think that there's anything necessarily great about Roman, but I also don't think that there's anything necessary. I don't think he's horrible either. He's like Uncle Slam said, he's right there. He's average mid card.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to say mid card, but you know what I'm saying. Middle of the road.
Yeah.
All righty. So this is a big deal that's happening between AEW and TNA. So TNA Wrestling and Carlos Siva pay their talents peanuts and actually only pay them if they are booked to perform, but then feel they should have the audacity to block them from making extra cash on the indies. Meanwhile, Tony Khan and AEW pay their talent very well and still allow them to work independent bookings. Great way to treat your wrestlers, TNA. Well done. You joined the big leagues and are being found out very quickly. You can't work like this. Good luck trying to sign the next free agent. They will all want to clear as day. I work for indie bookings or I don't sign with TNA. So basically TNA and the rest of this that I forgot to grab a hold of, TNA it's going to affect wrestlers doing the TNA AEW crossover. So there's going to be no more of that. He's not allowing them to work indies anymore. What do y'all think about that? Do you think
because WWE owns them now. That's their policy.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, they haven't bought them yet. WWE hasn't bought TNA yet.
No,
they're still independently owned. No,
are you sure?
As far, I'm pretty sure. Hold on just a second. I'll make sure.
I think they did pick them up.
As TKO and WWE bought TNA.
I think they're under the E now.
I know they had involved
TKO Group.
Go ahead.
It says no. TKO Group Holdings, WWE have not purchased TNA. TNA is still owned by Anthem Sports and Entertainment, while TNA has a multi-year partnership with WWE announced in January of 2025 featuring talent crossovers. It remains an independent promotion.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot because I feel like TNA was doing it. Hold on. I got to back up on that because I understand you don't want your talent going somewhere else and getting hurt. I get that. But at the same time, TNA is starting to catch fire again. So, and the formula that you were catching fire with was allowing people to show up on other shows. Now I get that because they didn't didn't have their own TV to where, it was good to have people showing up on other shows because we don't have a TV show other than YouTube.
Yeah.
Now that they're on AMC, I think that's why he's doing it. We've got a TV deal now. There's no reason for everybody to have to show up in other places to get seen. So let's pull it back and let's spotlight our stars ourselves on our TV show.
But the other side of that coin, J-Mac, is the other half of that text where he's saying if you want your talent to stay exclusive and to stay with you, then pay them regardless of whether they're working or not. You want them to stay, then pay them. If they're not going to be paid, give them the opportunity to go find work. I think that's where the biggest thing is. It's not that they're preventing other people from going on other promotions. It's that they're preventing them from going on other promotions and not paying them if they're not being on TV.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and I agree with that. You got to give guaranteed.
Yeah, you can't expect somebody to be like, I'm going to work for you, but you're not going to pay me, and I'm going to sit here and wait for you to decide to pay me, or when you're going to pay me, when there's other option out there for me to get paid. You're not the only show in town. It's not the only restaurant. There's other places I can eat. And if you're just going to hold that over me, then I got to go someplace else where I can. It's just it's business, but it just seems like it's bad business.
Guarantees.
Yeah, I mean,
there has to be guarantees in today's wrestling.
Yeah, to a point though. Like I said, we don't need to go back to WCW because that's what fucking. Well, no, that was more creative control. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, guaranteed money can get you. Listen, guaranteed money can get you in trouble. Too. So you got to be careful with that because guaranteed money means that even if you want to end the contract, that person is still getting that money. That's what guaranteed money is. So you still got to be careful with guaranteed money and don't go crazy with it because, you might not be able to afford to pay Kevin Nash $10 million because you want to fire him 2 years before his contract's up.
Agreed. Alrighty, moving on to the next. It says, I don't know how much grooming is going on, but look, Bobby Roode, he's got a great sense for what we do here, and Hunter leans on him, so he's not being groomed, but he's definitely in a great spot right now. And that came from the Road Dogg Jesse James on Bobby Roode. Do you think that do you think maybe that plays into why Road Dogg quit? Is because I think Road Dogg felt like he was going to be the next up in that line. If Triple H moves up, because I've heard rumors that Triple H may be looking to retire, within the next couple of years.
He did have the heart attack,
and if that's the case, you're right. He's had the heart issues and stuff and everything. Yeah. He's got a pacemaker now. It's a stressful job. Plus, he overseen pretty much the transition from Vince to TKO. I'm sure that was stressful, getting things on track from all that, and keeping things, together. That takes a lot of toll. It's been a lot of years. So do you think maybe Road Dogg is, and I no hate towards Road Dogg because I'm on his side with this. I think it's, what's the point in having a creative team if you're not going to listen to the creative team? But, do you think that maybe Triple H said, I don't see me in you as far as this position, but I'd see it in Bobby Roode? And that's why Road Dogg kind of said, well, I got to go then because you're not listening to me and you're not, helping me get to the point where I'm going to eventually take over for you.
I mean, it's all possible. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, just because they've been friends for a long time. Maybe he thought he was in there, what I'm saying, because they were buddies and he was going to promote him next. And when it came to a business decision, it just wasn't going to work out for him. And sometimes hurt feelings happen and you have to leave. I don't know if it was personal. It might have been just a business decision, or he might have just, like he said before, he was just frustrated with which way creative was going and didn't feel like he was being heard or understood and just couldn't do it anymore. Sometimes money's just not enough, and you just got to
Have you seen the clip?
What?
Right.
Yeah.
But have you seen Road Dogg clip where he's like, I'm not mad, but you could tell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And that you could tell there was obvious frustration there. There was obvious I'm getting fed up of suggesting things, and then it's just constantly shot down. So I mean, I don't know. I hate it, because I mean, I think Road Dogg could have helped a lot. I love Road Dogg. Maybe I'm just biased. But I just don't see the point in having a creative team if you're just never going to listen to your creative team. Like, at least Vince felt like he would listen. He's going to veto. But that whole conversation with Triple H was just like shooting it down, shooting it down, shooting it down, shooting it down. I was listening to a story about the whole Brock and when Stone Cold took his ball and went home because they wanted him to lose to Brock Lesnar. And they wanted him to lose to Brock Lesnar in a King of the Ring qualifying match. Just like Stone Cold said, that don't make any sense. But somebody came to Vince, suggested it, and Vince's thing was, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that because in 3 years, when we main event both of them at WrestleMania, nobody will remember this. Well, Stone Cold was like, no, this doesn't make any sense of why I would lose a qualifying match. I get if it was during the King of the Ring tournament itself, but just to qualify, I feel like it's kind of like the same thing that's going on that, went on here. Vince listened to it and he took it into consideration and said, hey, let's roll with it. But it feels like Triple H is just going, no, it's not my idea, so I don't want to do it. Or it's not what TKO's telling me to do, so we're not going to do it. That's just me.
I don't know.
I don't know how y'all feel. All righty. Oh, have you all seen this, man? This fight that happened with the collision and everything between Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez.
I did not see it.
They both had to enter concussion protocol.
Really? See, I watched this and shit, and I thought I saw them hit their heads together, but I thought that was just part of the the whole thing and shit.
Here's the results.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't know that's where it came from, but
God damn.
Yeah, dude, that's an egg.
That's a may not right there. It may go down, it may not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
God damn.
And my thing is
hematoma.
With this being so close with this being so close to WrestleMania, man, damn, here we are, and now you got this possible concussion with these two girls, because I can't remember right offhand if they're going to have anything to do with WrestleMania. I can't remember, if they're in a match or anything.
Two women's matches.
I don't think Greg is.
Matches
I know Liv Morgan is with Stephanie Vercaer or whatever, but
there's only one women's match on each night, isn't there?
I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, because there's a tag team, and then there's the champion with the two championship matches.
Oh, there's a tag. No, you're right. There's 3 matches between both nights. There's a tag team match. There's the championship match, and then they have the women's intercontinental belt on the line too.
Oh yeah, Becky Lynch, and then
they are talking about adding Asuka and Io Sky as a 1-on-1. So that's a possibility.
Yeah, no build up.
I mean, I'd be interested to see it.
That just sounds like a filler match. It's like, well, we needed something to fill up the about 15 minutes of time. Here, let's throw this shit in here.
And what's worse is they probably have to show up. They probably told them, hey, women, hey, ladies, show up. You're going to be on standby so that if we need a match, you're going to wrestle. But there's also a chance that you won't be needed. So you can come to WrestleMania, but we're not going to, we don't know if we're going to use you or not yet. So just show up.
Don't get your hopes up.
Just be ready. You're the throwaway match.
Just come and enjoy the week.
Yeah, that's when everybody's getting popcorn.
Just enjoy
and
the
shit.
week on us.
Popcorn match.
Yep.
Right. And that's sad because they're both good wrestlers. It's just there's no build up to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All righty. WWE hit with community note after editing out CM Punk's ticket price line. Did you all hear about this? In his
talking about how much it costs for tickets and shit.
Yep.
Yep.
So
I agree with that shit.
Yeah. Yes, I did too. But it's funny because they edited it out. And readers added context. The official WWE clip is edited and omits the end of CM Punk's promo where he calls on TKO, WWE's parent company, to lower ticket prices, saying he should tell his agent, Ari Emanuel, to do so. But because of that, this happened.
What's it say?
WWE is reportedly looking to lower ticket prices for their shows through the summer this year following CM Punk's comments Monday night.
Do you believe that,
so
though?
Maybe the big star, maybe they're looking into it.
Listen, man.
Okay, that is corporate speak before, as we don't really give a shit. We're just going to say that shit to pacify you.
Right. Oh, I agree.
Let me go you one further, gentlemen. Hold on. Let me go you one further, gentlemen. What if everybody's been complaining about the WWE ticket prices anyway, right? Like this has been an ongoing conversation for at least all of 2026. You know, it's been talking about the ticket price.
Easily. Yeah.
So if you're TKO and you're at least getting savvy to how some of the wrestling business works, because they've taken over for 4 months, it's been a train wreck. The first 4 months of 2026, it's been a terrible quarter. If you're starting to figure it out though, and CM Punk is not, I don't care what people say about CM Punk. The pipe bomb. You think that first pipe bomb he said, you don't think Vince McMahon knew every single word that CM Punk was going to say before he walked out there? Of course he did. It wasn't no pipe bomb. Vince McMahon said, go out there and say it, boy. So, give me a break. CM Punk's not this pipe bomb guy. Okay. He's not what everybody thinks he is. He's a corporate dude. All right. So if you got a new corporate dude who's willing to do whatever, as long as you pay him money, you send him out there to call yourself out, your own self, and you're adding a real life story to the storyline. So TKO sends CM Punk out there knowing that they're going to lower ticket prices anyway, but why not turn it into a storyline in the first place? CM Punk, go out there and call us out because we're telling you to. So that's why you're allowed and not fired right after Raw ended. And then we will lower ticket prices. So I think it's TKO actually learning the game. I don't think it had anything to do with CM Punk going off the rails. There's no pipe bomb 2.0. He was told by someone who has a corporate suit on to go out there and say it.
Because some of the best promos are the ones that have a little bit of reality to it. So that would make sense. Like I said, all the best promos are the ones that have mixed reality to it. So I'm with that.
And no one in WWE is saying anything that has not been filtered and tested and all that stuff. Not anymore. Not with TKO in charge. No one's going out there. There's a handful of wrestlers. Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Undertaker, Paul Heyman, and Brock Lesnar. They get to go out there and say whatever they want. They have the free pass. No one else is. Not even CM Punk.
And honestly and truthfully, though, I don't think that they could afford to fire CM Punk, even if he did go off the cuff like that. I'm not saying that that's what this was, but there would be too much outrage. You fired somebody because of the fact that they're fighting for the people who can't afford your product anymore. That would have been so much backlash on TKO that wouldn't have been funny.
We'll know
just my opinion.
We'll know in a few months if CM Punk gets injured and spend some time on the sidelines.
Well, this came after that. Updated WrestleMania ticket sales now suggest night one with 39,345 sold and night two with 41,317 sold. I don't know. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see how all this plays out with this ticket price and stuff like that. I think it's a lot going on. And
are they sold out? Like, is that what that's kind of hinting to, that they're almost sold out or something like that, or what?
No, they're not sold out.
No, that they're nowhere near it. They're nowhere near sold out.
How much does it hold as far as the arena or whatever?
They're going to need another 15 or 20,000, I think, for where they're at to be sold out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is this the same stadium that the Raiders play in?
Oh, go ahead.
Is it? I'm not sure if it is.
Like, you know where they're doing it? Like, is this a football stadium or like, is this like arena or what? Do you know, Legend?
I'll find out. I will find out real quick. Where is the WrestleMania Pouring things out.
There is
let's see.
In Facebook and what we're doing here on StreamYard. I just want y'all to know that.
Oh, yeah, there's always been a lag.
Significant.
Let's see.
Significant.
It's not telling me anything other than it's just Las Vegas. So I'm assuming that they would, they would definitely probably take the same place. You know what I'm saying? I don't see why they would go to a smaller venue, especially with that brand new place for the Raiders.
I think the Raiders do play in an arena.
All right. I was just curious. I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's an outside.
Well, it is Vegas.
I could be wrong.
It's not like it rains that much. They don't have to really worry about that.
Did you find the name of the stadium that they're doing, J-Mac?
I did not.
Let me see if
it just said Las Vegas. All right. You look that up and we'll get on to some of these others. New Japan Pro Wrestling gets called out by fans for blatantly copying WWE storylines. Do you all think that that's a big deal? Because it's kind of like, WCW blatantly stole their NWO storyline back in the day.
What storyline?
So, I mean, do you think it's a... It didn't say specifically. There's been multiple. There's been multiple storylines that they've stolen.
Oh, geez, give me a break.
Is what the article said. That's
everything in WWE has been stolen. All of wrestling.
Wrestling is stolen storylines.
Yeah, the NWO.
Yes.
New World Order. Hello, taking it right out of the Bible. The whole thing between Undertaker and Kane. Okay, like his name being Kane with a K. That's right out. That's the story of Cain and Abel. All you did was parody it. It's all copied from somewhere. There's very few unique stories or characters in wrestling. There's very few people that have been able to pull it off.
Yeah, I don't think it's that
wrestling.
Big a deal.
If the Montreal Screwjob was a idea from like the 1930s. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think fans are blowing it up way too much. All righty. I don't know if y'all seen this interview with Shawn Michaels. It was a pretty good interview. I watched it. I can't remember who the two guys were that he was on the show, but excuse me. They asked him about the Undertaker when he first came in. He said, I can remember when he came in and people were saying, oof, this one's not going to last long because it's a dead guy who doesn't feel pain. How long can that work? Well, the answer is 25 years. He was and that's what he went on to say. He said it was crazy to see because that's what everybody thought at first was, this guy's not going to get hurt. How long can you keep doing he doesn't get hurt before somebody's got to hurt him somehow? He said, but that was what was great is he had a way of maintaining that, aura of he can't be hurt, even while, slight tweaks to the character, and he was getting hurt. So it was like it was a pretty good interview. You should go watch it. I can't remember the name. I can't remember the guys that were doing. I want to say it was Carmelo Anthony's.
Who was it that first beat taker? Was it Yokozuna?
Tito Santana.
He was the first one to beat Taker.
Tito, if I'm not mistaken, Tito Santana was the first person to give the Undertaker his loss in Barcelona, Spain.
Okay, I'll have to check
because
that out.
They let Tito go over Undertaker at home, which was pretty cool. I thought that was, I never knew that, but I thought it was pretty cool. I finally looked it up and seen the video of it. It's pretty cool. All righty. We got to hurry up because Uncle Sam's got to take off here in a minute.
Well, actually, she called and said that she could pick up the kids, so I'm not in a rush anymore.
Okay, cool.
Well, all right, so that changes shit a little bit.
Slow it down a little bit. Right. Yeah. All righty. So MJF the other day, my personal favorite wrestler in wrestling today, he said, thanks for putting 15 matches on, Tony. You're a effing whatever that is, Minch. By the time I get out there, you can literally hear you can't hear a person fart. They're dead. They're fucking exhausted. They don't want to be there anymore. MJF's music hits. All right, we got to lock in. And I give those fans in that live audience no choice but to get emotionally invested. And that's something I'm so proud of, because if you put any other top guy from any other era outside of this one in the position that my boss fucking puts me in over and over and over again, they would fucking kill somebody. So what do you think about that, about too many matches?
I think he's working. I think MJF
see, and that's the thing about it. That's the thing about him. That's why I love him, because you can never tell.
I think he's absolutely working.
He is the modern day Ric Flair. He lives 100%. That gimmick.
100%. 100%. He is the top wrestler. I think I would make an argument for him being the top wrestler right now among any promotion.
I could see that. I definitely could.
He's my favorite.
And Tony just paid him a truckload of money. Again, do you really think MJF, he has this persona of doing whatever he wants, but is that gimmick? Or did he get that clearance to TK message him and be like, hey, you know what would be hilarious? If you to add to your gimmick, if you call me out about how many matches I'm putting on. Like, yep. That
just sit around trolling everybody.
Yeah, it would make that's exactly like something TK, because TK's a fan too. That's one of the things that I like about him, but also I think is a hindrance to him, is that he's a fan. It helps him agree to things that wrestlers want to do because he wants to see it himself. But then he does things too much, and he needs to be the boss sometimes. But that is something that he does do things like that for the fans. He wants you to be confused. So I think he's working. I don't buy that as a shoot at all. He's completely working.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, because like what did we talk about in just this episode about how many short matches, they only put so many on, and for him to be like, damn, my boss puts all these matches on and shit. So yeah, I think it's like a backhanded compliment. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I'm taking stabs at WWE and shit, and they might not even know it over here. I like it.
Yep. That's me. I like I said, you would be hard pressed for me to find. I can't think of anybody else in the business right now that's as entertaining as MJF all the way around. When he's on screen, off screen, whatever, he is going to give you MJF at every turn. Whether you're at a convention, whether you're at a gas station, whatever, you're going to get MJF.
Yeah, if I could, Jay.
Alrighty, this next. Oh yeah,
before you move on, you were bringing up Tony Khan, and remember I told you I said I had something that I was going to contribute here. If you want me to share my screen, I can show you the visual. But Vince Russo, it was a tweet or a post or something from Vince Russo. Now I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he just pretty much said what I was saying. He thinks that Tony Khan's greatest asset is his kindness. But he also, in the same breath, he says he also thinks that's one of his big hindrances, because in this business, almost nobody who gets to the top is a kind, nice person. You don't dominate with kindness, but that's what Vince Russo was saying about him, that his kindness is his greatest asset. But it's also likely to be the thing that could be his undoing as well. I just wanted to bring that up because I'm not a Vince Russo fan at all. There's very, very, very little about Vince Russo that I agree with, but that I do agree with. I think Tony Khan is a very nice guy. I think anybody who tries to paint, I've never seen anything or never heard anybody say anything negative about Tony Khan yet. The only bad thing that might be about him is he might be trying to keep talent off of TV close to their end of their contract time, but there's not enough evidence to say that that's for sure happening or not. But I do think that that's the one time I might agree with Vince Russo is that statement about Tony Khan.
Right. I can see that. I mean, I like the fact that Tony Khan is a fan and he's trying to give the fans something else besides what we've seen for the past 26 years from WWE. Yeah. But at the same time, like Vince said, his kindness which is one of his biggest strengths, is also his biggest weakness because it gets him walked over too much. I think that and the fact that he just doesn't know enough about booking. He needs to get somebody in there to take over the booking. Don't give it to a committee. You need to give it to one person that is going to run things by you, let you veto it. But I would do it this way. You're going to hire me as your booker. I'm going to give you a match card for, say, Dynamite or Collision. You can veto 2 things. After that, whatever 2 things you want to veto and you want to go in a different direction with, we'll do that. Everything else, you don't touch. And I think that's the way you can still let him be involved, but not take over the entire booking and screw up what somebody else who could possibly do good for the company do. That's just my opinion. I hope he does. I hope eventually by the 10-year mark, AEW can, hit their stride. I really do. This one is kind of a sad story. I don't know if anybody remembers this guy from a long time ago. Years ago, there was a wrestler from the Oregon era named Billy Jack Haynes. It was on a couple of WrestleManias, was actually supposed to be one of the big stars and everything of the new WWF when Vince took over from his dad and everything. Billy Jack Haynes, though, about a year and a half ago, murdered his wife. Damn. And they were trying to find out if he was competent enough to stand trial. And yes, he is, which, I mean, good for her. She's going to get some justice. But it was really weird watching. And again, you've got to take certain shows like, and don't get me wrong, I like Dark Side of the Ring. I think it's a really good show. But you also have to take everything that they're doing with a grain of salt, just like anything else. Everybody's going to skew it to their opinion of what they're trying to sell. Yeah. But like in that episode, it talked a lot about how, and even Billy Jack Haynes himself said he wasn't worried about being fired by Vince because he was just going to go back to running drugs.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, he got a deal where he was told to go pick up like $1.2 million and bring it back. And when he brought it back, he only brought back $1 million. And somebody told him, you're going to get it. And he was like, yeah, okay, whatever, but he was doing drugs and stuff and everything. Well, finally, one day he said he was getting something out of the trunk of his car and somebody come up behind him and whop, nailed him in the back of the head and stuff. I guess I can't remember exactly what all they did, but it was pretty extensive.
Did they shoot him or did they hit him in the back of the head?
Hit him. I don't think if my memory serves me correct, it was just them hitting him with maybe a bat or something like tire iron. They were sending the message, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I don't think they were going to kill him over 200,000, but they were going to definitely send a message. You don't mess with us like this anymore. But, ever since then, it was just like, if you really look into his life, things spiraled. And they spiraled quick. But the thing, like I said, the thing that was so sad was, man, he had the look. He chiseled body. His character was kind of based off the Billy Jack character from the Walking Tall movies. Or no, not Walking Tall. Billy. It was just Billy Jack. I think it was. Maybe I'm maybe combining 2 different movies there from the 70s. But he had had the looks, had the gimmick, everything that everybody, and then all of a sudden it just fell apart. Like my biggest memory is, I believe it was WrestleMania 3, him and Hercules, when they were doing the full Nelson match, and the chain broke or whatever, they were doing the tug of war with the chain and everything. So it's just sad, man. It's sad that life gets to them like that.
Oh, drugs will do that.
Yes. So the other day, I don't know if you all seen when, and I'm assuming it was probably a drunk rant, and I hate to say that, but Ric Flair went off the other day talking about how WWE was actively trying to ruin his reputation, that he's actually a 21-time heavyweight champion. And, they want, but he played along and said it was only 16 and this, that, and the other, basically calling WWE out, saying that they're trying to erase him from history. Well, now Ric Flair's come back around and he's backtracking after accusing WWE of trying to destroy his legacy. Is it me, or there was a point in time with this when I was like, damn, Rick, what are you thinking? But now I'm just like, I'm almost getting sad for him.
Yeah.
It's all.
And then finally catching up with him.
See Ric Flair.
With all the alcohol and partying, finally catching up with him.
Yeah.
I think it is. And I hate to say that, but I honestly and truthfully, I know that's not the lifestyle that he wants to live. But Rick, I think it's time to just go home and disappear and just enjoy the last few years that you got.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've had 50 years of Rick.
Yeah. And he can't do it in the ring anymore. He shouldn't really be involved.
No,
with wrestling
definitely
anymore. Not. And I know that he's had not a good, he's had a lot of tragedy in his life. But he got a run with his daughter as champion. He got to spend time with her and do a whole angle while she was champion, walking her down to the ring and stuff like that. So he got his his child moment too. So I think Rick needs to be done. I think he needs to just step away from wrestling, and I don't even know. I don't even know if you bring him back in like a guest capacity or something. I just think it's time for Rick to just take a step back from the wrestling world for a while, at least from the on camera position.
Let me ask you this, and this is separating Ric Flair from Richard Flair. Does somebody like a judge or something need to step in and save Rick from Rick?
I don't know how
you do that from himself.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, because his whole lifestyle is a danger to himself. The drinking, the partying.
But you can't. But he's still 89. That's what I'm saying. He's still doing the same stuff. He's not.
Yeah.
And how do you stop him? You can't declare him mentally incompetent.
Yeah.
As crazy as the Sun Gun is, he's not mentally incapacitated. You can't say that.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there's anything he can do.
I don't think you can save Rick from himself. I think Rick will do what Rick's going to do until he's in the ground.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's sad though. It's sad because I don't want to see him. I mean, he's already ending up that way, but I don't want to see him end up to where Ric Flair is nothing more than just an embarrassment to professional wrestling. Because of all the antics after wrestling.
I would argue that some of the end of the days in WCW were not so good. I'm glad he got a good run in WWE after WCW was sold, because the end of his run in WCW wasn't exactly the best or the greatest either. That's how they were portraying him at the end of WCW's reign. And here we are 20 years later after WCW's done, and we're still talking about Ric Flair being crazy.
Right. And it's just, I don't know. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that promo where he was standing in the middle of the ring, him and the Horsemen in their tuxedos, and he started going off on Bischoff, and he bit his lip and was sitting there bleeding.
Yeah.
Or no, it was his tongue. And he was sitting there. Tongue, I still to this day, I don't know why, but I'll just be sitting there at work sometimes and everything, and I'll be like, Bischoff, Bischoff, you son of a bitch. I loved it. It was great. It was just, I don't know why. It wasn't nothing special. It was just the way Ric Flair delivered. He was like, because he was wild-eyed. He was like, "You son of a bitch."
Yeah, he's got his white hair.
Fire
he's got the
me.
black tux on. It was so obvious too when it like, all right, so he's pale because he was pale in WCW. He was not tanned. So he's pale. He's got white hair. He's got this black suit on that contrasts his skin and his hair. And then all of a sudden around his mouth is just getting noticeably red. And you're like, that's weird. That's very noticeable based on the color contrast we're seeing here.
Right. Yeah, it was great. One of my favorites. I just remember. This one is a little bittersweet, but I understand what this man is saying. Paul White admits that he may not get a retirement match because he is having bad problems with his knee. I don't know if you all have seen him standing, but his knee really bad kind of goes inward towards his other knee. Like it's almost like his leg is going like down, it kind of hooks and then comes out like it's really bad, and but here's a few quotes from him. He said, "All I can do is enjoy some of the last years I have under contract with AEW and hopefully have some fun with some of the younger talent and teach them some of the lessons that I've been passed down to me. I could sit at home and play video games. Not everybody gets a story. I may not get a story. I may not get a retirement match. I'm very real about this. I have to do certain things and hold myself accountable to get to a position so that I can compete for fun. For no other reason than that, I want to have fun in the ring." And he said, "I'm not in any way, shape, or form delusional that I'm going to go out and compete for championships and pull the wagon. Those days are done. There's nothing I can do that is going to make my career any bigger or any better." I don't know if I've ever heard somebody as gracefully accept, accept that Father Time, is the only wrestler that's undefeated.
Yeah.
And he's accepting it gracefully. He's not, it doesn't sound like he's bitter about it. Because in my opinion, Big Show's got a lot of room to be bitter. As many times as they made that man flip-flop and drop titles and, what do you have, like a one-day run with the WWF championship? And, it may not have been one day. I know Kane's was. But, short runs, they didn't really, when in fact, he should have been somebody that was out there mauling people. He should have been a champion, the second coming of Andre, and he did the one thing that Andre didn't do was win the title and keep the title for a long period of time and dominate.
You don't think they used him right in like WCW or whatever?
I think
I
think they did.
Yeah,
and I think WWE screwed him up.
Yeah, being the son of Andre, while everybody knew, it didn't take long to figure out that he wasn't the son of Andre. But it was a good storyline, and I think it would have been better to keep that going into the WWE than it was to try and rebrand him as the Big Show or whatever. But they also they wanted him to be his own character. They didn't want him to be the Giant. They wanted him to be something else. So also because Vince can't own the rights to the name The Giant. It's just not, it's not something that you can own those rights to. So again, he had to rebrand him so that he could own the rights. It's one of the as smart as Vince was about marketing and everything, and you could say that owning the rights to the wrestler's name was good marketing because you would make more money. It also hurt a lot of wrestlers and a lot of people that you brought in by not letting them keep the gimmick that they had already established. They're still doing it. They're still doing it now. WWE is still doing it now with people they bring in from the indie circuit. They're still renaming them.
Yep. It's crazy. Like I think the WWE, they should have let him continue to work the way he worked in WCW. But if you notice, and I went back and looked at this, he gained a lot of weight in between his WCW run and going over to WWE. And I'm wondering if that wasn't Vince telling him pick up a few pounds. You're to be a giant, you're too thin.
Yeah, you need to be a little heavier. You need to be wider. But that also could contribute because, you know, big men, the first thing that goes with them is always the knees and the backs. You know what I'm saying? Knees, backs, feet, because that's a lot of weight on you, a lot of movement.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I think, and I think JR said something. He was talking about with China, but I think it applies to the Big Show too. He was saying about how China was a novelty and that she shouldn't have been out there. Or no, he actually referred not China. He's referred it to Sable actually, because Sable wasn't the best wrestler, but she was over with the crowd. So you should have treated her as a novelty, as someone who you paid to see, not as someone who went out there every Raw and defended the women's title the way she did. You should have got more money out of her by only having her compete at pay-per-views, having it to be a novelty act. I think the Big Show was the same way. WCW really, like, I don't know how many dates the man had on his contract, but I think Big Show and WCW had more dates than, with the exception of maybe Rey Mysterio and Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero and some of the cruiserweights, because when the Giant, when he was called the Giant in WCW, when he was the champion, he was defending that belt every single week. And then Hogan won it from him and didn't defend it for 4 months, which means that Big Show or Paul White, the Giant, had more dates to compete than Hogan. But when you're the champion, you can't just have them compete. I don't think it's a good idea to have them compete every week. So I think WCW was misusing them a little bit because they were still having them compete every week. He's a novelty. He should have been someone that you use to around a story, build up a story, and then you get the payoff match. You pay to see him at a pay-per-view.
Make him disappear for a little while and then bring him back whenever you need him again.
Yeah, that's the way he should have been treated more.
Because in that in between time, he could have been working in the back and learning how to be an agent too. Or what do they used to call it? It's not an agent back then. It was I can't remember what they called it, but you were the one that went over somebody's match. Lord, I cannot believe I went blank right there. But anyways.
Yeah, but you could also do, I know WWE doesn't like, they've only done it a couple times. That's not something they like to do a lot, but you know, there's nothing wrong with like having a cinematic match. You know what I mean? You could have also gotten some money off of him by doing some more cinematic matches where it wasn't in the ring taking bumps.
Yeah. We will see. I mean, good luck to you, Big Show. And when you do decide to retire, thank you.
Get back
I don't think he needs a retirement match, though. I mean, like, I think we'll still like him as he is. Like, and I don't think everybody does need a retirement match. Like, I think it's good if you can get one, but I'm not gonna look at him any less because he didn't have a, like retirement run or he didn't have a last match or no shit like that. I don't think that changes how I feel about him. So.
I think you should put him back at the commentary desk. That's where AEW should have him right now. I don't know what he's doing in AEW, but he's not at the commentary table. I'd love to put him back at the commentary table.
See, I never thought about that. That might be a good fit for him and shit. But I've never heard him do commentary, so I'm not sure. But I know he sounds really intelligent because I've heard him talk before, and I know he knows wrestling or whatever. So
he's done a little bit in AEW Slam. He did a couple with Excalibur and with Tony Schiavone, and then he did a couple with the B team when they had Collision, Dynamite, and Rampage when they were running 3 shows. He was on a couple and just did, like, he didn't do like the whole shows. I don't think he would just come on for like the second hour or something like that. But he was good. Like, he's a good color guy. He's a former wrestler. He can talk intelligently about what's happening in the ring. And anytime you need him to be the heel commentator, he has skill in that. He has experience in being the heel with on the mic. So he could switch right to that heel commentator if you need real easy too.
I think too, honestly and truthfully, like you were saying, I don't need, not everybody needs a retirement match. I don't need everybody to be in a retirement match. But the thing of it is I also think that WWE, with what they're doing here lately, is kind of devaluing retirement matches because we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The guy retiring is going to lose. So, what's it matter if every 2 months we got somebody else that's leaving because they're retiring? Well, okay, we know they're going to lose. So why do we want to watch? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a spectacle. It's supposed to be a spectacle, but whatever.
Yeah.
All righty, moving on. Oh, well, to get back to it, I guess I got them mixed up. That's part of the Billy Jack Haynes thing. There's a visual of who Billy Jack Haynes was and who Billy Jack Haynes is now. But yeah, he's standing trial. So, sorry, you shouldn't kill people. I'll spend as much time on that as we need to. This one's kind of sad. Sid Vicious's family confirms no Hall of Fame speech planned for his induction. My question is first, why is he going into the legacy wing?
I think because he's dead. Like, did we talk about this before? I think the legacy is for people that are not alive. That kind of.
But it's kind of stupid. Why don't we just put them in?
Kind of post. What's it called? Post. Blah blah blah. After the fact.
That's the thing. Why do we have to? You know what I'm saying? Why do we even have to do a separate part? You know what I'm saying? Dead or alive. Let's just put them all in the same Hall of Fame, which, I mean, there's not even a freaking Hall of Fame building. But, I don't know. To me, it's like, let's put them in the legacy part so that we don't have to give somebody any screen time.
Is that what they're actually doing?
What his son said. Yes. Gunner Udi.
They're not even putting him into the
Hall of Fame. To the legacy wing.
In the legacy wing?
Hold on here. Yeah, hold on. Gunner revealed that while the family plans to attend WrestleMania 42 weekend events, including WrestleCon, Sid's induction will be handled differently than many other Hall of Fame entries. That's because Sid is being placed into the legacy wing, which typically does not include live acceptance speeches during the ceremony. This is a direct quote. There will be no acceptance speech because they are putting him in the legacy ring. We will just be in the crowd. We would have been honored to give him a speech, but at the same time, I feel like his fans rather see a video package of him than two people talking that they don't know. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
The man deserves a speech. I don't care who it's from.
True.
It's his Hall of Fame. I want his son up there talking.
Yeah, putting him in the legacy wing, that's kind of weird. I thought that was for like people like celebrities and shit.
No, that's I can't remember what wing that is. I know what you're talking about, but that's my whole thing. I understand having like the celebrity wing, but as far as in-ring performers, why are we separating them?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you're in the Hall of Fame, you should just be in the Hall of Fame, not you're in the Hall of Fame in the legacy wing.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense. I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. Like I said, I think they're just trying to make it a little more special, I guess. But yeah, I kind of feel what you're saying. It should all just be Hall of Fame, not legacy, not this, not that.
The celebrity ring does make sense, but that's the only other exception to the Hall of Fame. It's the celebrity ring because they're not professional.
Yeah, they're not real wrestlers.
So don't honor them as you would. Yeah, don't honor them as you would professional wrestlers. But definitely all wrestlers should be honored the same way. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Sorry, I have my mic muted. I didn't realize it. So the last thing I've got before we get into anything that Uncle Slam's got for y'all, I just seen this and I thought it was kind of cool because this is actually one of the few matches that I'm really looking forward to at WrestleMania. I'm really looking forward to the passing of the torch of this. But we got the tail of the tape between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar is 48 years old. Oba's 27. Brock is 6'3", 286. Oba's 6'6", 310. I didn't realize Obafemi was that big. That's a big dude. Of course, the debut was 2002 and 2026. Accolades, we've got, of course, Brock Lesnar with several WWE championships, 7 in total. Obafemi's got a 2-time NXT champion. Brock is a 3-time Universal champion. Brock is also a 2-time Royal Rumble winner. The biggest things that Oba's done so far has just been in NXT, which is another reason why I'm glad that they're doing this, because I think if you're going to hand what Brock is over to anybody, it's got to be Obafemi. Nobody else is going to be believable as far as just taking Brock out and taking his torch.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. he's the only guy. So, how do you all feel about this match? I mean, is this a match you all are looking forward to at WrestleMania, or is this just kind of like a, well, it's going to happen and it's going to be quick, but kind of cool, but kind of don't care too?
I think it'll be good. I don't know that for me to say I'm looking forward to too many of the Mania matches. I'm not, a super fan of WWE. So, there are some matches that I'm interested in, and then there are a few matches where I definitely could care less. But I think this will likely be a good one. I expect that this one will be a good one and has the potential to be very entertaining.
Uncle Slam?
It's I'm not, like I said, I'm kind of like JD. It's like I'm not excited for it. I do think it'll be a decent match. I think we kind of all know what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure we know Obafemi is going to get over on Brock. I think the writing's on the wall. I think that's the only bad thing is because I just feel like we already know what's going to happen. But I still think it's going to be a good match. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you like two big, strong guys. So like it'll be a good match. But like I said, I think it's pretty predictable. I think Obey, this is him getting over. So
I do too, and I don't think anybody expects that this is going to be, Macho Steamboat or Steamboat Flair, anything. It's not going to be some big technical. It's going to be two big powerhouses going at it, throwing each other around, and it's going to be a passing of the torch match. But I think as far as like hype, it's one of the better matches that they've actually been hyping up for WrestleMania. So I mean, I hope it turns out pretty good. I'm optimistic about this year's WrestleMania just because I don't feel like the build-up has been anything that it should have been. But that's it for me. That's all I've got, Uncle Slam. I know I had a lot. Uncle Slam, you got anything?
No news wise, just reporting on what happened in Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Before you get into that, Uncle Slam, I'm gonna have to bounce before you get into that and not make it to the end of the episode. I got to make a call in about 3 minutes.
All right, I feel that.
I'm gonna have to bounce. I appreciate you guys having me on again, though. It was great to, because I had to call in a whole audible on the day. My whole day fell apart, so it was nice to get on here and do an episode with you guys tonight, and still be able to contribute something and get something done today. So I appreciate you guys.
No problem, man. You're always welcome, man.
We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes,
so, and I'm wearing my shirt, Normalize the Good. I'm not shouting out my own apparel tonight. All right. Go check out the Humankind on Facebook. Give them a follow and pay respects to my fallen buddy, Marcus Fredrickson. He does the music for Mayhem Media. So the Normalize the Good, the Humankind apparel, that was all created in his honor. So go pick up some Normalize the Good apparel.
All right. Definitely.
All right, guys. Thanks. I'm out of here.
And I will get with you, man. Yes, I was going to say I'll get with you sometime this weekend about the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that too. So, yep. All right, man. Catch you guys later.
All right. Peace.
All right, man. All right. Looks like it's down to 2, sir.
All right. Let's see. I guess I'll start off with a little Raw recap here. Let's see. Kicking it off, we had CM Punk come out, do a little monologue, kind of pipe bomb-ish, not pipe bomb. It's kind of like what you touched on earlier. He was definitely talking about ticket prices that everybody definitely agree with. The crowd, when he was talking about that, definitely got behind him or whatever, but really didn't talk about too much. Like I said, just building up more hype for WrestleMania, talking shit about Roman. He did call up Pat McAfee or whatever, and I think there was somebody else he called out, but I'm not sure who it was. The first match of the night was LA Knight versus Austin Theory with iSpeed or iShow Speed, I think it is, ringside with Logan Paul. Now, obviously, he showed up the last 2 weeks or whatever, so it was pretty obvious that he will get involved. He acts like it's innocent, but I don't think it really is. And after the match was over with, which Austin Theory won or whatever, they decided that they were going to do a 6-man match with the Usos, LA Knight, the Vision, and Speed. So that'll be kind of interesting. But like you said, I'm just not sold. I'm not sold on all of these celebrities showing up.
Neither am I.
Like, I'm really not interested in the whole fucking Jelly Roll toxic shit. Like, that shit just seems like we could do anything else. Then our next match was supposed to be Finn Balor versus JD McCullough, but it never got started because before Finn could even get to the ring, he was attacked by Dom, and they pretty much just beat him up and left him laying in the ring. Then we had Bayley versus Lash Legend. No real surprises here. Kind of predictable. Tag team partners on the outside, a little interference going on. Ref wasn't paying attention, and Bayley ended up getting the win on that. Of course, they're just building more momentum because Bayley and Valkyria have a match at WrestleMania versus the Irresistible Forces. I'm pretty sure they're called. And then we had Seth Rollins come out and cut a promo on the whole Gunther shit. I'm like you. I still don't think any of this shit makes sense. I feel like they just took two people that were injured and was like, well, hey, you're injured and you're coming back, and you're injured and you're coming back. So, hey, that makes sense. We'll just put y'all together. Y'all have no story, no history together. Sure. Let's just do that. So, yeah.
Paul Heyman. I'm not a Heyman guy, but Paul Heyman's going to rent me.
Yeah. And then we had
now Gunther's rent for hire.
Yeah, but then Gunther made it clear that Paul owed him more than just what Paul thought he did. So I think there might be a little more to that.
Right.
But I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Didn't we do that? Didn't we do that last year with? Oh my bad. I was just going to say, didn't we do that last year with CM Punk? You owe me a favor?
Yep. And he had a 6-man tag with Los Americanos versus Penta, Javon Evans, and Dragon Lee. I think we pretty much know how this match went. A lot of high flying, a lot of bodies hitting the floor. In the end, it was Penta, Evans, and Lee coming out on top. Then we had the Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus, I'm going to butcher this, B-Fab and Miching. Why not throw the accent in there for?
I think it's Mishin.
Yeah. But like, where the accent
whatever
come
her
from?
name is.
I know, like, I just threw out the little Chinese accent, like, okay. I don't know why I threw that there. My bad. I apologize. I don't know where that came from. It just
trying hard.
Yeah,
trying hard.
It was coming out. Well, my DNA, I checked. I was like 1/8 Asian, so it just comes out sometimes.
There you go. It rears its head every now and then.
Yeah, those recessive genes coming out and shit. My bad. Yeah. So on that match, it was Io and Rhea Ripley won that. No real shock there. And then we had the contract signing between Obe Femme and Brock Lesnar, which you can't even say it was a signing because he didn't even make it in the ring. They just started battling.
I was going to say, the contract didn't even get signed.
Yeah, like they just basically just went over there and just started beating the shit out of each other. So, yeah, they're really, I don't know, I guess they're going to have a contract signing eventually, or they signed it later. All right, next on. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I just said right.
Okay. All right, next we're going to tap into NXT, which we had Tony D won. I didn't, and this is my bad. I did not get the results from Stand and Deliver. That was their biggest pay-per-view of the year. That's like their WrestleMania for NXT. Apologize. I will have to get that for next week and shit. I totally dropped the ball on that. But Tony D won the 4-man match between Ethan Page, Joe Henry, Ricky Saint, and himself, of course. Came out talking about, I'm here. I take on all challengers. Blase. Of course, he got hit with a nice little attack from Dark State, kind of trying to re-cement their dominance in NXT. Next match, we had Soruka versus Izzy Dame with Sean Spears and Nicolo Vance. Don't understand the point in all those people, but either way, Soruka ended up losing because her tag team partner came in and decided to hit her with a spear, which kind of turned the tide. But I actually like Izzy Dame for some reason. I don't know why, but I kind of like her. Then we had Kiana Carver, Jasper Troy versus Josh Bridges, which is kind of a continuation of the match from like the week before, because before it was Carver versus Jasper Troy with Bridges being the ref because nobody else would ref it, and then in the end he ended up pretty much planting everybody in the dirt, the ref or whatever. So then they asked for a 3-man match, and Carver ended up taking that at the end. So he looks like the next big thing. I'm pretty sure he just kind of took Obafeme's spot. Is what it feels like to me. Like he's the next just big beast, unstoppable force or whatever you want to call it. Right. And in the main event match, we had Dark State versus Tony D, Joe Henry, Ethan Page, and Ricky Saints. Basically a 4-man match. All hell broke loose pretty much. But in the end, Ethan Page tagged his own self in from Tony D, kicked him in the face, and then hit his finishing move to win the match. So they won the match, but he also kind of beat up his own partner, which Tony D got paid back at the end because then he pretty much chokeslammed his ass at the end. So then we had the Speed Championship tournament, which is Lexus King versus Chaz Starboy Hall. And that was won by Lexi King. Now, I don't really know much about this guy, but I love his beard or his little zigzag cut in
Lexus
facial.
King?
Yeah. I love his little.
That is?
Like, I don't know him. Like, I've known him since NXT, but I love his little facial hair, whatever you want to call it.
Well,
wow, who is
Lexus King? Lexus King is just his wrestling name. His biological name is Brian Pillman Jr.
Oh, okay. I never, you know what? Now that I'm looking at him, I can kind of see that a little bit now. I can kind of see a little Brian Pillman in him. Shit. Okay.
Yep.
Well, he advanced in the Speed Championship, beat Starboy. Then we had Taxton Pate and Shallow Hill versus Blake Monroe and Jackson Drake, with Monroe and Drake defeating Paisley and Hill by pinfall. A little miscommunication kind of helped that. And at the end, there really wasn't no match. It was just Lola Vice come out. She had won the women's championship in the last pay-per-view, which was I think it was a 4-man or four-woman match or whatever and shit. So she defeated, I think it was, who was it? Now, I don't want to mess this up, but I'm pretty sure it was a 4-man match. I don't want to say the names and mess them up. But she won, beating JCJ. Now she's a new champ, but she's also the TNA women's champ also. So she has the NXT belt and the TNA belt. I have a feeling she will be losing one of them pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right. And
they're not going to keep a double title like that.
No, especially with a different organization and shit. I think once you get a title, I think you can keep the two for a little bit, but I don't want to be like a Monique Moray or what's her name, Sasha Banks, where you have like 15 championships.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a little overkill. I don't think that's necessary. Now moving on to SmackDown, we had the Viper come out to the ring. do a little talking, or was trying to talk, because St. Louis is his hometown that he actually lives at and still lives there. And he basically said he did this for his family, not for the fans, but for his family, the people he lived with. And it's so amazing. I haven't heard this in a while. A heel get as much applause and love as a baby face. It's almost like the Stone Cold. It's like he's a heel, but he's not a heel. It's like he does terrible things, but people still love him. Like the pop he gets when he comes out is just ridiculous for a guy that's supposed to be a fucking heel. Like they love that Randy's back.
I don't
like
think
Randy. Go ahead.
Yep. And I was going to say, I don't think that Randy is as big on the mountain as Stone Cold, but he is the closest thing to a modern day Stone Cold as we've ever had.
Yes. As far as being a heel and then getting that pop, like you just don't hear that anymore. It's like it's deafening when he goes out in that motherfucker. It's like no matter what he does, what he says, I hate you, I hate this, I'm going to do this to Cody, they are going to cheer this man on. So eventually he's going to have to, I guess he's going to have to go babyface eventually. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, he's just too over. Like they just love this guy. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So he's out there talking shit. Of course, Cody, after taking the ass whooping he took last week, comes out. They get into it. He gets the advantage on Randy. And then Pat McAfee comes into the ring. I don't know what Cody thought was going to happen, but he kicks him in the nuts. Obviously, that lets Randy get the advantage, start beating him down with a chair. Pat gives his little promo, little monologue, talking about how, real wrestling fans are sick of the way shit are. They want to bring it back to the way it used to be with the Stone Colds and the Rock and the Ruthless and the Attitude Era, and that that's what Randy's going to do. It almost sounded like a politician. Like, I'm promising this. I'm going to bring it back to the good days. I'm going to make it good like it used to be. You just got to stick with me. But I'm not a huge fan of Pat McAfee. I don't dislike him as far as what he does in wrestling. I think he's an all right announcer. I don't really want to see him wrestle. But that's just me and shit, like I said. Then let's see. On SmackDown, we had Michin. I think I actually got that right. Michin versus Rhea Ripley. It's a struggle when I say that name, always. So if I get it right on the first rib, I deserve a cookie on that one. I ain't gonna lie. Right. We had Rhea defeat Michin. Because we didn't have any interference. Next, we had Uncle Howdy versus Tama Tonga. And their big storyline is, of course, the MFT still have the lanyard from the Wyatt family. Tonga's like, hey, man, like, do we really need this? I don't really need this. So they're like, okay, well, since you don't need this, then you get to go out there and wrestle Uncle Howdy. So, of course, but he said, all right, I'll go wrestle him, but I want to do it by myself. So everybody stay in the back. So, of course, that didn't happen. Solo comes out, brings the lanyard. Tonga ends up losing the match or whatever. And he ends up giving the lanyard back to the Wyatt family, which, of course, Solo was not happy about that. I can definitely see a split coming with the MFTs, which I'm actually happy for because they haven't really done shit in a while. I mean, this whole beef with the Wyatt family is getting old, and it hasn't really went anywhere. So I think it's time to blow it up and start something fresh. I'm okay with that, being done with that. Let's see. Next, we had Sami Zayn was a little pissed because he didn't have a match for WrestleMania. So he's like, I'm going to go out and get me a match for WrestleMania. So he had the went against Carmelo Hayes in the United States Open Challenge that he has every week. Excuse me. And with a little help from Trick Williams being ringside, he was able to get the belt. So now he's part of WrestleMania, and he gets to wrestle Trick Williams at WrestleMania for the U.S. title. Now, Trick's bringing Little Yachty, like I said, or I don't mind a little bit slip. I don't want to see you wrestle, and I don't want to see too many of you because I think it takes away from the other wrestlers, which is way more important. Then we had Matt Cardona versus Aleister Black in a match. Really was no surprise on this. You know, Cardona's kind of been the whipping boy. Why they even bring him back if he was just going to lose against everybody? Like, what's the point? Like, can he not win a match? Like, why do we have him here? Like, I understand, like, we got to have jobbers every now and then, but do we really have to just shit on him all the time? I don't know. Just
WWE does.
Huh?
WWE does.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, but he's still getting his check, so I guess he's happy and shit. Then we had Bailey and Lyra Valkyrie versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, with Flair and Bliss getting the win. And I'm getting a little burnt out on this whole shit, man. Every fucking week, I'm so sick of looking at fucking Lash Legend and Nina Jackson after a fucking tag team match come out, beat the shit out of everybody, do the little finishing move. I mean, like, it is so predictable and boring. Like, is there nothing new we can do with this? Like, I'm okay with the 4-way match and I get it and shit, but every week just the pure dominance it's just boring. Like, I mean, you're just losing me. Like, I understand they should be dominant, but can they do something else? Is there anything else we can figure out? It's just boring to me. Next we had tag team match between R-Truth and Damon Priest versus Kit Wilson and The Miz in a tag team match. No surprise, the Comic Relief here won out with a little help from what's his name? I want to say Danzig, but I don't think that's right. What's the guy that curses people?
Oh, Danhausen.
Danhausen, with a little help from Danhausen. Yes, put the curse on him. See, I already talked about Sami Zayn decided to give Carmelo Hayes a rematch because he won last week. But Sammy's finally going to the dark side. It's about damn time. Because when the ref was checking on Carmelo Hayes, Sammy said, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm about to take this opportunity, and I'm going to hit him with my finisher here. And that's what he did. So he kept his belt. And that is the end of the recap for SmackDown, Raw, and NXT.
Well, I will hurry up and get through these AEW results and everything else. Let these good people get on home and all that good stuff. Well, I guess they're home if they're trying to use my grandpa's old saying it didn't work. All righty. So the AEW results for the week of April 1st through 8th, 2026. AEW Dynamite was on April 1st. April Fool's Day. MJF took on Mike Bailey. MJF defeated Mike Bailey in the AEW World Title Eliminator match via Heat Seeker. Post-match, MJF continued the attack until Kenny Omega made the save, which is obviously setting up a Kenny Omega and MJF showdown. Let's see. Kenny Omega, Jack Perry, and Brody King defeated The Demand, which was Omega, Perry, and King defeated Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona. Mina Shirakawa, Jamie Hayter, and Alex Windsor defeated Triangle of Madness. The team of Shirakawa, Hayter, and Windsor defeated AEW Women's Champion Thekla, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart. Yeah, they got some hard names,
I know,
man. I'm telling you right now.
It's good
wrestling, but it's hard names.
Yeah. Thekla. You can't beat Thekla.
Let's see. MJF and Kenny Omega, of course, had the contract signing. They signed the contract for their AEW Dynasty World Heavyweight Championship match. There was a segment where Chris Jericho, of course, returned to open the show, declaring AEW is his home. So, doesn't look like Jericho's coming back to WWE anytime soon. AEW Collision, which was on April 2nd, which was the following night. Willow Nightingale retained the TBS title in an open challenge against Shida. Will Ospreay attacked John Moxley and secured a title shot. And the Hurt Syndicate, they made their return. Let's see here. TNA Impact for, let's see, that was yesterday, yes. TNA World Tag Team Championship tables match. The Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, defeated the Righteous to retain their titles. 8-man tag team match. The System, which was Cedric Alexander and Eddie Edwards, and Order 4, Mustafa Ali and Special Agent Zero, defeated Mike Santana, Trey Miguel, Leon Slater, and Moose. In a bunkhouse brawl, Tessa Blanchard, daughter of Tully Blanchard, defeated Jody Threat, or Threat. I'm not sure which way you pronounce that. Let's see. Singles match, Frankie Kazarian defeated BDE, which is Ryan Namath, via chicken wing submission. In a singles match, Elena Black defeated Mila Grace. And in a big segment, Santino Marella and Indy Hartwell attacked Stax and Ariana Grace after they took refuge in the women's locker room. That was the end of TNA. And NWA Power results from April 7th, 2026. The episode featured and focused on Thrillbillies, Silas Mason versus Brian Idol rivalry, with NWA Women's World Champion Natalia Markova granting a title shot to Livia. NWA US champs, the Slime Balls, Sage and Tommy, featured in continued storylines with tag team matches against the Lost. And the title scene was basically the Thrillbilly Silas Mason held the NWA 10 pounds of gold. And that was pretty much it. That's one thing that I do like about the NWA is every match isn't just, and this modern NWA, every match isn't just, we're going to, how do you say it? It's not going to be superstar versus superstar. There's going to be enhancement talent where we're going to just come out here and feature one superstar and show him to you. Kind of like the old days, when they used to do that. But other than that, that's all I've got. I don't have anything else. You got any more results or anything on
I don't have any more results. I did remember a interesting thing I just heard. I had saw where Dean Malenko's daughter is actually getting a chance at NXT. And she's going to start training there pretty soon. I didn't even know he had a daughter in wrestling, to be honest, and stuff. But yeah,
that could be interesting.
So I like seeing, like I said, second generation, third generation, especially women too. I mean, hell, like we saw what Charlotte Flair did.
Yes.
So Dean Malenko's daughter.
And speaking of which, did you know?
Go ahead.
Did you know that Charlotte is actually contemplating retirement?
Really?
Yep.
What, just to the injuries, or is she just tired, or what?
Well, it's like she said, a lot of people, by the time they hit 40, they're hitting their stride.
Yeah.
But, she was, and a lot of, and it's kind of like, I don't want to fully try to quote it because I won't get the whole thing right. But in the interview, she basically said that, a lot of people, they win their first titles when they're in their mid to late 20s. And then they really start, developing and stuff into their early 30s, and you really hit your stride about 40s. But she won her first title when she was in her 30s. And so, she's hitting 40 and everything now, and it's, getting close. So it's like, I think she's just kind of, I don't know if it's the injuries or it's just, hey, timing. I'm 40. It's time to slow down a little bit, or maybe even just call it a day.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting tidbit.
It's like, what else has she really got to do? She's been tag team, women's champ, universal champ. I'm pretty sure. Like, did she main event a WrestleMania with Becky Lynch, or like was that Sasha Banks? Either way, I mean, she's pretty much done everything there is to do as far as a women's championship in WWE, and she's done it multiple times. So, I mean, I don't really think she has much to prove. Now, if she wanted to go to another organization, that might be different. Her going to AEW, her going to maybe a TNA or some shit like that.
That could really blow up AEW or TNA's women's division.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, like, look. Look what happened with Sasha Banks. Like when she left and shit, and she was at the peak. And when she went over to AEW, TNA and shit, like, she was already a star, and so that just helped her be even more of a star. Now, like I said, I'm still not crazy with all the fucking belts, which I'm glad they started taking those away, or she started losing to give those back. But I mean, like, what really do you have left to do? Like, if you're Charlotte Flair, I mean, there's not really much, and I'm pretty sure she's got money put away. I'm pretty sure she's not hurting, even if she is taking care of Pops. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do you want to go so long? Like,
I mean, if she does,
I just don't want to see her like a lot of these, older athletes, where you've taken so much pain or punishment. Now, when you're in old age, you can barely move, or you have all these health problems that that aren't going away. So, like, if you can get out young and with all the accolades and all the money, I say do it.
100% agree. Totally, 100% agree. But yeah, I think that's all we've got and everything, guys. I don't. You said you ain't got nothing else, Uncle Sam?
No, I'm tapped out, brother.
Well, man, before we go, everybody join in and help me. Happy birthday to you.
No.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Uncle Slam. Happy birthday to you. Let's ring the damn bell.